with all the uncertainty currently surrounding Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker, I appreciate that the Baltimore Ravens are trying to sort of get ahead of it and doing their homework on not just kickers, but one of the best kickers in the collegiate ranks. Let's read this article from Pro Football Talk. It says Florida State kicker Ryan Fitzgerald is drawing serious interest from NFL teams ahead of draft weekend. Fitzgerald told Justin Miller of the Draft Network that he has had a private workout with the Patriots and has kicking sessions planned with the Commanders and the Ravens. And that's a beautiful thing to hear about, because the Baltimore Ravens, they could easily just be like, you know what, let's just work out some random kicker just to say we did it. But no, they are not wasting time, and they're going to one of the best of the best. Continuing to the article, it says, I've been excited to show these teams what I can do, Fitzgerald told Mello. We'll see what comes of it. It says Fitzgerald is one of the best players at his position, having been a Lou Groza Award finalist and a first-team All-American in 2024. He went 13 for 13 on field goals last season and 14 of 14 on extra points. And in 2023, Fitzgerald was 58 of 58 on extra points and 19 of 21 on field goals, and that's what we love to hear. Now, with this, if the Baltimore Ravens are seriously interested in him and Fitzgerald, then they would have options. First option, what they could do, they could draft Fitzgerald. Now, how high would they be willing to spend a draft pick on a kicker? Because that's a very, very interesting one, because you'll have some fans tell you, hey, it ain't worth it. Don't waste no draft pick on no kicker. We got so many other things we could do with those draft picks. But at the same time, we got a whole lot of draft picks. And if you use a late one on a kicker, especially one of the top kickers in the nation, then would that be such a bad thing, especially if he's incredibly accurate? I don't think so, especially when you got 11 of them. But then at the same time, you could be like, you know what, we're not going to draft him. If you don't draft him, then you run the risk of another team drafting him. But then at the same time, there's undrafted free agency. You could sign him as a UDFA, an undrafted free agent. Now, with that, you would have a level playing field, because you could let the kicker know, like, hey, we're going to give you this fat bonus. We're going to give you a huge signing bonus, the biggest signing bonus out of all the undrafted rookie free agents, because we want to let you know how much we value you. And, hey, you're probably going to end up being our starter. That's something that I can see the Baltimore Ravens doing as well. And I think really depending on what the Baltimore Ravens do or don't do, that can also sort of give us an indication on how they're feeling about Justin Tucker. If the draft comes and goes and the Baltimore Ravens, they don't draft a kicker, but then about a week after the draft and they haven't signed a kicker as an undrafted rookie free agent, then we'll all be looking around like, oh, okay, well, I guess Justin Tucker is staying. But if we see the Baltimore Ravens, certainly if we see them draft a kicker, then I think that will let us know, okay, the Baltimore Ravens are moving on from Justin Tucker for sure. But if they sign an undrafted rookie free agent kicker, that's one thing, but it would also depend on what that sign-in bonus was looking like. If they give him a significant sign-in bonus, then that can let him know that, hey, you're going to be the future kicker for the Baltimore Ravens. So now we reach my favorite part of these videos, where we get to feature your questions. You know how to take part in it. Let's get into the first one. Came from my guy Davel. He said, peace, King. What's up, Davel? He said, I don't know what the Ravens are trying to do, like not making any moves in free agency to put us in a spot where we can win the Super Bowl is crazy to me. What do you mean? He said, we keep speaking about the draft. We just good every year and still don't make it. We haven't won a Super Bowl since 2013. All we do is get hyped for the draft. We need vets on the defensive side of the ball. Well, the Baltimore Ravens have certainly, especially over these past couple of years, they have made significant moves in order to be Super Bowl champions. They just haven't gotten done. In 2023, they had more than enough to be Super Bowl champions. In 2024, they certainly had more than enough to be Super Bowl champions. They just have not got it done. The Baltimore Ravens, a lot of fans get frustrated from what they do, or a lot of times what they don't do every single year, and that's with the sexy moves. And I get it. We all love the sexy moves. We love them big trades, the big signings and all that. We love it, love it, love it. Now, where I will agree with you, though, I feel like the Baltimore Ravens, they should make like that move to really push them over that much more, because they've been making some really, really good moves. Every year in free agency, they make some pretty good moves. They're like, oh, that's a nice addition. And then they sign somebody, you're like, how's he going to fit in? And then he ends up being a baller. And it's like, okay, that worked out for the Baltimore Ravens. Good. But if they would take more of a risk, like really put it all out there for somebody, like somebody who just straight up like that, somebody who is a game changer, a game wrecker, whether it be the offensive or defensive side of the ball, or both, then I can see what you're saying. But to say that they don't do nothing but care about the draft, I disagree with that part. But the rest, I see what you're getting at. Next question came from my guy Gilberto. He said, building a bully starts in the trenches. Hey, Ingraven, hope you and the family are doing great. Tell Carter and Young and I said hello. Hey, appreciate you, G. He said, anyway, let me get to the point. A lot of teams tend to go for the big, sexy draft picks in the first, which is fine. But didn't EDC say he wanted to build a bully years ago? Well, we have yet to do that. We have watched Philly year in and year out build up that nasty D-line and O-line, and look where that has gotten them. I'm with you on the Mason Graham pick in the first. No, not Mason Graham. It was Derek Harmon. There we go. He said, but we do have 11 picks, and if I'm not mistaken, why not take Mason Graham and use some of those picks, Derek Harmon, and use some of those picks and Mark Andrews to trade back into the first to take James Pierce or draft a day one ready guard. Mark Andrews and a second and a third might get you a low first round pick, but it's going to be hard to get back in the first with just Mark Andrews, and if you're willing to give up a second and a third, and probably more than that, it will take probably more than that to get back in the first, in my opinion. But anyway, he said, why not use those picks and Mark Andrews to trade back in the first to take James Pierce or draft a day one ready guard? Just imagine Matabike, Graham causing havoc in the middle and having Pierce and Adafe come off the edge. I know we need to add cornerback there, but we can certainly do that in the second or maybe third. Being able to get pressure without sending our secondary on blitzes would make everyone's job a lot more easier for sure. That part right there. You said it, my friend. That part right there. Without us having to send Marlon Humphrey all the time, a super duper. Now, you still sending them on blitzes is cool, but you could do that a lot less if you could get pressure with that front four. So I'm with you all day on that part, my friend. So I get it. He said, let me know your thoughts and if you would approach the draft any differently. I'm with you all day on that one because it just makes sense. And like you said, it makes everybody's job easier, and you will really be making a huge impact on this defense from the front all the way to the back. Next question came from my guy Maliboy. He said, hope you and the family are doing great. I haven't sent in a question for a while, so I decided to send another one in. After the craziness of free agency, the draft is looming overhead, and I'm excited to see who the Ravens add to their roster. One of the players that many people have the Ravens taking is James Pierce Jr., who is an elite rusher out of Tennessee. Pierce is an elite edge rusher who can be explosive off the edge and is very talented. Unfortunately, NFL scouts have said that he is lazy, immature, and uncoachable. His coach at Tennessee defends him, though, saying he is a hard worker and he has a high ceiling. You said over and over that the Ravens can't have a project. They must draft a player who can play immediately. So do you think we can draft Pierce? Now, a lot of times when you hear like scouts say that stuff, they're really just trying to make somebody drop. They trying to make somebody's value drop so they can get them, whether they can get them later on or they can end up coming to their team, because it's a nasty business, man, because people will put stuff out there on players. It happens all the time. They will put stuff out there on players, and the timing, it'll be right before the draft. And in some cases, it'll be right before they're getting ready to sign a big contract. All this stuff will start coming out randomly. I know y'all remember exactly what I'm talking about, but it happens. Both in the NFL, happens on the collegiate level, and it's real nasty stuff. But anyway, to where they'll just try to make that player's value drop. So could that be what's happening with James Pierce? It could be. It really could be. Could he be somebody that could come in and help the Ravens out day one? Oh, yeah. Certainly, and he would also give us somebody long-term for the next 4 or 5 years on the edge because of Davel away. He's in the fifth-year option. Calvin, y'all already know what time it is with everybody else. Everybody else has either contracts expiring or there's a lot of unknown on them. So the Ravens could get him. I would not be mad at that draft pick, but I think if they were to go interior defensive lineman, I think that could actually help Davel away be that much better. That could help Matabike be that much better. That could help Kyle Vanoy be that much better, and everybody else from the inside out. Next question came from my guy, Jarvo. He said, what is the play on offense and defense you felt we let go too soon? On defense, for me, it would be Matt Elam, Sergio Kendall, and Timmy Jernigan. I agree with you with Timmy Jernigan because I felt like he was coming into his own. He started balling, and then we traded him to the Eagles, and I was like, what? He said, on offense, I say Miles Boykin, Brashad Perryman. Oh, yeah, Brashad Perry. You know that's my guy. Brashad Perry. Yeah, that's my guy right there. So, yeah, and he said Kenneth Dixon, and Jaleel Scott and Jordan Lastly. So, yeah, I would say out of those, I would say Brashad Perryman. He also said, I would love to see us be aggressive and get our guy in the first round instead of waiting to see who falls to us. We got lucky with Super Duper Kyle because he was projected to go top 10. Once we get our actual guy, I want us to either trade back in the first or get another second-round pick. Watch the vault with Sarah and Bobby, who had a draft expert as a guest. Can't remember his name, but he brought up an interesting thought about our tight end group. He mentioned us having 3 tight ends who are all on expiring contracts, so he suggested us trading Charlie in a 4th and drafting another big blocking tight end as his replacement. I feel like that would be like the easiest, I feel like Charlie Kohler is, I don't want to say the easiest one to replace, but that's like the easiest decision out of the 3. Like, okay, you got to decide what you're going to do with Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and Charlie Kolar. Like, that, all three tough decisions. All three could play. All three could bowl. But the much harder decision, the much larger contracts are going to be to either Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely. So trade it. You could trade Charlie Kolar in a fourth and draft another big blocking tight end as his replacement. You could do that, but you still got the other two. It's like, all right, what are we going to do here? He also said, did you see EDC draft history being exposed by Jeff? I wouldn't say being exposed, but just being talked about by Jeff Zrebiec. We did. He said, if so, what are your thoughts on it? What would a successful offseason and a successful draft look like in your opinion? Where you get just, especially more specifically from the draft, I mean from free agency too, but just getting impact players throughout the entire draft. And I know, like, you ain't gonna hit on every single draft pick. We get that. It ain't like that, but I would say if like 75%, 80%, obviously if 100% of your players could be impactful, but if about 75% of your draft could be impactful. Not all got to be starters, because rounds 1 through 7, it ain't going to be, oh, we drafted a bunch of starters. No, it ain't going to be like that. But as far as whatever their roles are, if they can make an impact right away, then I would say that would be a successful draft. And he said, do you think we give our draft picks a chance to actually be contributors on a team? We draft 32 players each draft, and we only see 4 players we drafted. Well, you can look at that as a bad thing, but you can also look at it as a good thing too, because the Baltimore Ravens, they're so like close. So if you're a team that's super close, you're not going to have a bunch of rookies on your team starting. That would be somebody like the Jets or somebody like the Giants or something like that. The Ravens are not like those teams. They're ready like right here, right now. So some rookies are going to come in and play, but you got a lot of veterans, and your team just needs a little more push to get over the hump. So they're right there. So that's why a lot of rookies don't end up playing. He also said, do you think the Ravens organization does a good job with re-signing their players, or should they change their approach? Well, they got Lamar done. It got nasty, very nasty. And we talked about it earlier, but they got it done. They got Nnamdi Madubuike done, Marlon Humphrey, Mark Andrews, Ronnie Stanley, Pat Ricard. I mean, the list goes on. So I would say they do a pretty good job of re-signing a lot of their own players. He said, we wait to the last minute when players price themselves out to repay them instead of paying them early, like in Oweh and Kyle Hamilton. Well, no, because with Lamar, it obviously took past the last minute and they still got it done. And a lot of players, they like to get it done a year early. But even though with a lot of their players, they do wait, they still get it done. So I think they do a good job overall of re-signing their own guys. Next question came from my guy Steph'on. He said, what's good, my good brother and the crew? I pray you and the family are living a dream in that Florida sun. Deep breath sigh. Whew, I'm so tired of the media hating on the flock. It's always negative vibes. They hate on just about everything we do. Now they try trashing DeAndre Hopkins. I'm a Clemson fan and a Flock fan, of course. So D-Hop is one of my favorite players. He hasn't had but one decent quarterback in Deshaun Watson. Then he was traded to the Cardinals, but he's always produced big time. That's true. That's true. That's the thing that always stood out about DeAndre Hopkins. No matter who was throwing him the ball, he was balling. He said, and plus, the flock does well with great vet guys, Calvin Noy, Jadeveon Clowney, and Derrick Henry. So let the record show, EDC and the crew will get the best out of a healthy top-tier vets. So shut up. Lastly, I'm still watching draft film, so these are guys who I believe the Ravens, deep in their souls, first round, James Pierce. Well, I guess we've been talking about him all episode. He's very popular amongst Ravens fans. He said he's a Tennessee killer. Second round, Ursery, offensive tackle, Minnesota monster. Makuba, a safety from Texas, a big baller. And finally, if we want a big X receiver, watch Will Shepard's film and like my unc's front teeth. I'm out.